Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of In Pursuit of a Parlay, Friday late night edition, season 2, episode 27. By the way, it is Friday, it is late, and we've got that Friday late night vibes for everybody. I'm losing my mind, and I'm doing it while being recorded, so thank you all for being here for that, and thank you for your continued support. Thank you for allowing us to go over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. If you are checking us out on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, make sure you don't miss an episode, follow us, do all of that. If you're checking us out on Spotify or the podcast platform of your preference, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment, make sure you do all that good stuff. Be a part of the show and let us know what kind of what games you'd like to see picked in the future. So we are going to be looking at the second round of the NCAA Tournament. It's been a fun first round so far. It's actually going on right now. And most of the games we're going to look at will be on the 18th, but we do have one game on the 19th. That's that Pitt-Xavier game, the last one we're going to hit today. As always, I have bovadasportsbook.com open in front of me. We're going to use them for the lines, anything else interesting that we find, and I don't want to waste too much time. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. We could be watching basketball right now. So let's get right into this. Our first game of the parlay this week will be Furman and San Diego State. We're showing San Diego State going to win this one about 75% of the time outright. SDSU coming off of a good win over a team, an underdog that people really liked in College of Charleston. They win 63-57. Matt Bradley, their go-to guy. The guard is averaging 13.1 points per game. For Furman, what an upset of and maybe one of the worst passes in NCAA basketball history made by that Virginia team at the end of the game. Just mind-bogglingly bad. But Furman pulls off the win, beats number 4 Virginia 68-67. Mike Bothwell, an absolute killer at the guard position, a lethal scorer, 17.8 points per game. And shoots 51.9% from the field. I don't think that gets talked about enough. 51.9% for a guy who takes a lot of tough shots. We're showing here that Furman's going to cover this one about 71% of the time, but I do think San Diego State probably wins. So we'll take a Furman cover, which is plus 5.5, minus 110 at Bovada. We don't take a lot of covers, but we're taking it here. That's going to be our first pick of the parlay this week. Our next game is going to be the Duke-Tennessee game. Number 5, Duke. Number 4, Tennessee. Look, this is a you gotta go with your gut kind of episode. We're showing Tennessee probably wins this one. I don't know how I feel about that. Duke, the number 12 team in the country, coming off of a win over Oral Roberts, another popular upset pick with Max Abmas and that fun offense at Oral Roberts. Their leading scorer, of course, Kyle Filipowski, but really have a balanced lineup. Derek Lively's been coming on of late, doing a lot of rebounding, doing the dirty work, blocking shots. They're going to be a tough team to match up with. Tennessee, the number 20 team in the country, coming off of a win over Louisiana. And their man is, of course, Santiago Vescovi. Another guard, another absolute killer. Doesn't shoot quite as well as some of the guys we talked about in the past, but 38% from 3 at home is something to be paid attention to. Duke, we are showing, will cover this one substantially. Honestly, it's always funny when we run into these situations where a lower seed is the favorite, and that is, what we see here in this game. Duke actually minus 3.5. I do think Duke covers that. I think Duke wins pretty easily. We'll take Duke minus 3.5, minus 110 at Bovada, our second pick in this parlay. We're wasting no time getting through this. We're going to make you money, and we're going to be efficient with our evening here. Our third game, number 8, Arizona, number 1, Kansas. Coin flip in terms of who's going to win this one outright, with a slight favor to Kansas. Wins it about 55% of the time. Arkansas is coming off of a good win over a tough Illinois team. They win 73-63. And they're just loaded for bear. Bunch of draft picks, bunch of guys who are going to be high picks. Ricky Council, their leading scorer at 16 points per game, but Nick Smith Jr. is there. Anthony Black is there. Very talented Arkansas team. Kansas, the number 4 team in the country, number 1 seed here, coming off of a dominating win, one of the bigger wins in the first round, 96-68 over the 16 seed Howard Bison, by the way. Jalen Wilson, their leading scorer, 20.1 points per game, very underrated player. And they have a heck of a lead guard in DeJuan Harris Jr. and Grady Dick. This is a good Kansas team. Honestly, I went into this thinking Arkansas covers, which is actually the number we have. We have Arkansas covering about 56% of the time here. But I think I talked myself out of it, quite honestly. I think I talked myself out of it. I think we're going to take Kansas to cover the 3.5. Yeah, why not? I think they're going to cover this 3.5. Usually, you know how I do here. You know how I like to play this. If the numbers are close, we'll take the money line over the score. But I don't feel that's the move here. I do think this is Kansas. I think Kansas wins pretty easily. It should be a fun game. But we're going to take Kansas minus 3.5, minus 110 at Bovada, our third pick of this parlay so far. And that, by the way, going to bring this thing up to plus 596 through 3 picks. Rhymes, and I only kind of meant it to. Our next game, the number 15 Princeton Tigers versus the number 7 Missouri Tigers. Battle of the Tigers. There's something there. But I don't think there's going to be much to this matchup, unfortunately. We're showing Missouri going to win this one about 77% of the time. Princeton, look, won the Ivy League. The upset of the first round, winning 59-55 over Arizona. You can't take that away from them. But I do think the Cinderella story for Princeton ends here. Missouri is just a really, really good team. I mean, the number 23 team in the country, I feel like they were underrated going into this. They win against a Utah State team that I feel like this is a common thread here, but was a popular upset pick. Win by 11. Never looked all that close. Kobe Brown, a heck of a guard, 15.9 points per game for Missouri. But, yeah, I don't think it really matters here. The line, not that big. I'm surprised that the line is a little bit higher. Once again, I'm comfortable taking Missouri minus 6.5, minus 110 at Bovada for our fourth pick in this parlay. It feels weird to be avoiding the money line to the extent that we are. But it's tournament time, baby. You got to get crazy. Let's go to our fifth game. The number 9 Auburn Tigers, number 1 Houston Cougars. We're showing Houston wins this one about 85% of the time. For Auburn, 21-12, kind of a middling team in the SEC, but a good win over Iowa in the first round, 83-75, led by Johnny Broome, the do-it-all forward, and point guard Wendell Green, averaging 4.1 assists per game for the Tigers. For Houston, they're 32-3 on the year. They're the number 2 team in the country. I don't have to tell you any of this. Did think they coasted a little bit in the game against Northern Kentucky. Obviously, they were I won't say they were down Marcus Sasser, but he wasn't right. He only played 14 minutes in that game, scored 5 points, took 5 shots. Expect a much better Marcus Sasser this game. This line is an interesting one. It's a 5-point line, and I do think Houston covers it. It's all covers. This is a covers kind of show. Houston covers -5, -110 at Bovada, our fifth pick of this parlay. And man, we are flying. This might be our shortest episode ever at this point. 5 picks in, our parlay up plus 24-36. Game number 6, the number 7 Northwestern Wildcats versus the number 2 UCLA Bruins. We're showing UCLA is going to win this one about 85% of the time as well. Northwestern, I expected them to lose to Boise State in the first round. They win 75-67. Boo Booey, one of the greatest names in college basketball history. Their guard leads the way in assists and points, 17.3 points, 4.5 assists. Doesn't shoot the ball that well, 40.7% from the field, but I'm not too concerned about it. For UCLA, I mean, come on. It's UCLA. This team's been playing great. They've been figuring it all out. Missing a piece defensively, but I'm not too worried. A giant win in the first round. They win 86-53 over UNC Asheville. Jaime Jaquez Jr. leading the way for this team. Seasoned, talented, play together. There a lot of good traits. Just a lot of good traits for this team. I feel like we're going all against the spread. It's the theme of the show this week. UCLA, I will take them to cover -7.5, -110 at Bovada, our sixth pick of this parlay. And that brings the whole thing up to plus 47.41. This is going to be a 5-digit number when it's all said and done here. Game 7. The Maryland Terrapins versus the number 1 Alabama Crimson Tide. Maryland comes into the game, the 8th ranked team in their bracket. We're showing Bama's going to win this one about 80% of the time. Maryland snuck by West Virginia in the first round, 67-65. Jameer Young, their leading scorer and assist man, 15.9 and 3.1 respectively. Talented player, but they're running up against a very good, and it's weird to say seasoned because Brandon Miller, obviously a freshman and really struggled game 1, but a lot of older upperclassmen on this team. They're ready to go. They're not gonna be scared. They're not gonna be intimidated. And they crushed Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 96-75 in that first round. Even with Brandon Miller hanging up a 0 points for a potential top 5 pick in the draft. They say he's nursing an injury. I don't know, but this is an 8.5 point line. We're showing Bama's going to cover this one more often than not. Don't like this one as much as some of the others. This is where if we hadn't gone 6 for 6 on the spread, I probably would go money line for Alabama, and this is a good time to remind you that hitting a parlay is extraordinarily hard. That's why these numbers are this high. So take what you like from me, add it to what you like from yourself, or ignore it all completely, quite frankly. But gamble responsibly, for sure. Hitting these big numbers is extraordinarily hard. And with that said, we're going to see a big number. Because I am going to take number 1 Alabama, -8.5, -110 at Bovada, our 7th pick of this parlay. And that's going to bring the number up to plus 9,142 with just one game remaining. And that game, as I alluded to, will be the only Sunday game that we're looking at on this schedule today. The number 11 Pitt Panthers versus the number 3 Xavier Musketeers. Pitt, I didn't expect to win. I didn't expect to win. They've advanced further than I thought they would. They obviously had to play for the right to even get into the tournament in that Final Four game, or game. The play-in game is what I'm talking about. It's Friday night. It's weird. Give me a break. Anyway, they then go on to beat Iowa State 59-41. A good, really, really good win over a relatively tough Iowa State team. They are led by Blake Hinson, their forward, 15.5 points per game. Nelly Cummings, a heady lead guard, 4.8 assists per contest. For Xavier, really good team all season, 26-9, 13th ranked team in the country. And they're coming off of, a tighter game than we expected over Kennesaw State. They do win 72-67, but I think people thought that win was going to be a little bit bigger. Actually, there was a big block at the end of that by Nunge to seal that win. Exciting game. They are led by their guard, Soli Bohm, 16.5 points per game and 4.4 assists. So this is a 5-point line. This is hard. I like Pitt. They feel. You know what? I hate that there's not a money line for this because this is the one place I would add a money line. I'm going to take Pitt I think they're going to win outright, but that's not an option right now, as you see if you're watching us on YouTube. I'm going to take Pitt +5. We'll take them to cover -110 at Bovada, our 8th pick of this parlay. And that is going to bring the final number for the field of 32 Pursuit of a Parlay show up to plus 17,545. Big number and a lot of fun to be had. I hope your teams are faring well in the tournament. I hope your brackets are not yet busted. Thank you so much for checking out the show once again this week. I've been Chris Horwedel. You've been wonderful. And we'll see you next time.